Hi, everyone. I'm here to give you a real quick overview of eMedia Virginia. If you've been using eMedia Virginia, we'd love to hear from you. There's a form for you to fill out. There's also will allow you to enter our drawing for a free online course. So please take a moment to fill out that survey. But here we are. So we're on the eMedia Virginia webpage. It's just eMediaVA.org. And as I scroll down, you'll see we also have added an alternative assessment resource collection. So if you're doing alternative assessment, there's actually an opportunity for you to submit that right here. We also have a subscription. So if you'd like to get updates on new content and new features that are coming, you can subscribe right there. We also have a link to our professional development opportunities, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a second. But the big thing is, do you have an account? Do you know if you have an account? Let's take a peek at the About Us link. Before we log in, we're going to scroll through a few things. So the About Us, right away, it'll tell you if you don't have an account, who to contact, and what we need to do. You can also create a guest account. It'll last for 90 days. So if you do anything spectacular in that account, it'll disappear within 90 days. Scroll on down, and what you're going to see here are all the schools and all the divisions that currently have accounts. So for example, if I'm from Caroline County, I would contact Betsy Short to find out how to log in. Now you may have you may be using what they call single sign-on, which you probably know what that means, but single sign-on would be using your regular network credentials to log into the system, so you don't have yet another username and password to get into the system. Or they may have created a new username and password for you. But here's your list. Contact your main admin person and they'll let you know what you need to do. As I continue on, I'm going to click on events. So we do actually have the opportunity for us to come out to your school division and do a full hands-on session. So let us know. You can contact us. We can set up some training for you. If you decide to open it up to other school divisions, that's where we would actually list that the date and time and a registration form for people to join in. Under professional development, this is our online professional development course. This actually has nothing to do with eMedia Virginia. It's another service that we have. We know you guys need recertification points, so check us out. We've got a 5% discount going on right now, and so take a peek. You go on the table. You also have a nice handout with the full course listing for the year. So take a peek and come take a class. Continuing on. Under news, this would be any new features coming out. We've actually won a few awards for eMedia Virginia. So you're going to find out what's going on right there. And content providers. These are all great educational content providers that we are getting this content from. So take a peek. You can click and, this actually goes out to their website. You can explore who they are. And you'll see some great content providers here. If you yourself are using some great content and you want to let us know and see if we get it into the system, go ahead and click on the contact button and let us know who we should be contacting related to content. And we will add them to our pipeline and contact them and hopefully get them into the system. So I'm going to go back home and I want to point out one more thing before we log in. As I scroll down, you're going to notice this logo here, the Virginia Department of Education. We actually are receiving money from the Virginia Department of Education to keep this or to allow this to be a free service for all of Virginia. So whether you're a teacher, a homeschooler, or a student, you'll be able to access this content and use this system for free. So what is eMedia Virginia? You could read through this description. We're going to log in and you're going to see it for yourself on what the capabilities of it are. But basically, it's a big online searchable database for you to be able to search by keyword or by SOL and add some filters to help narrow your search. And then you can download a lot of the content to use offline or bring it into your smartboard software, your Promethean software, or you can just link to the system and log in and access the content. So let's go ahead and log on, and I've got just a few things I want to show you guys. Just give me one quick second to get into the system. Ooh, and I know I typed that in wrong. I'm going to try one more time. So as I log in, this is your basic home screen. You can see that, as I mentioned, it's a big searchable database, but it's not just videos that you may get from YouTube. You've got documents, audios, video, interactives, text, links, quizzes, file prompts, and playlists. Notice up here, if I need to check my profile and change my password, I can do that here. If you're using single sign-on, you cannot. You will not see this button. Contact, again, you can contact us if you have any ideas on feature changes or content that you need to see. Help actually has a bunch of our PDFs right there. And of course, you can log out from here. You as a teacher, you do have a teacher view and an admin view. We're not going to dig into that admin view today, but just know that your admin view allows you to look up students. You could support them by helping them find their username and changing their password. Again, if you're not single sign-on, this is also where you would send them sticky notes. But right here, we have our help area. So our little tutorials will help us get through the system. So if I, for example, want to learn more about the library, I can hover over this icon, the video icon, and then I can click play right from here. I can do full screen.
Teachers, and welcome
I can
to
pause it.
eMediaVA.
I can start it.
Greetings, teachers, and welcome to the
Okay, and then of course I can hit escape to get out and close that up. All right, so a lot of your learning objects are going to look just like that. I can also, again, hover over, these are the PDF how-tos. I can hover over that, click on play. I'm not playing a video, but I'm playing the learning object. I'm opening up that learning object. And notice I'm going to have some beautiful screenshots right here. I can click to view a new window, but notice over here on pretty much every learning object, you're going to see your grades, who it's produced by, the publisher, your permitted use, which is very important. On this one, I can view, download, and share. Notice I have a download option right here. If I wanted to download this learning object, I can right-click and choose Save Link As, or again, depending on which browser you're using, you may have a different saving option there. Then you could navigate to where you want to save it. Notice I also have Send a Friend. I can either send them a sticky note, which shows up within the system, so they've got to log in. But normally, I would recommend doing a email and a sticky note. Email means it'll go directly to their email. They have to log in to access the file, but it's going to get to them if they're not logging in regularly. So try the email, and then you would click send. Notice I can also grab a plain link. This is great if you are, again, supporting your teachers and they're asking you for help. You can grab this plain link and send it to them via email. Also, if you find something great and you have, for example, all your math elementary teachers, you have a great learning object you find, you can, instead of doing one at a time, sending to a friend, you could grab this hyperlink and then send it in an email and it'll go to multiple people. How many of you are actually creating your own web pages? So if you know HTML, you can grab this, and this actually creates the link within your HTML document. How many of you are using SCORM? How many of you are actually creating your own online courses? So you can grab that SCORM. It's a package that you can download and pull into your online system, whether it's Desire to Learn or Blackboard or Moodle. Or Canvas, you can pull that in as well. So you're going to see this information on all of the learning objects. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up. So there's your how-tos, there's your tutorials. We're going to go through and create an assignment. This is the one we're actually going to recreate so you guys can see what this looks like. But when you have added an assignment, you actually have a snapshot that shows up down here below. You'll also see it here under assignments. So we're going to work through that. But let's go ahead to the library, because I want to show you guys one of the most important things, whether you've got students in the system or not, is just being able to do searches, whether it's by keyword or by SOL, and creating your playlists. So notice over here, I have these what they call playlists. All right. I've added content, and actually right from here, I can hover over it and I could play this learning object right from my playlist. Okay. And I can do full screen. Again, I can pause it. I can start it again, and I can exit out. All right. So that's what you may decide to do just to get your feet wet before actually working with the students. But here we go. In your library, you've got most viewed, highest rated, and you've got most recently viewed. And I can scroll through here and I can view these different learning objects. But of course, that would take a while to actually find what you need. But again, right from here, I could click on play. Notice I also have my SOLs that are showing up down here below. I can also tag if I am interested, if I find a learning object that would follow a wonderful standard of learning and it's not tagged for that, I can add that myself. And we'll know that it's a teacher tag. Notice the blue one is a teacher tag and the red one, the blue one is a teacher tag and the red one is what we call content experts. You'll also see some purple ones now. Those are actually coming from PBS Learning Media. Okay, so let's do a search. So if you were just to come in here and, for example, one of the ones they use in the sample is water cycle. If you all know your Boolean searches, Boolean, one of the main things is using the quotes. So if I search for water and cycle just as is, notice I get 1,971 learning objects. And notice it says water cycle and it's grades pre-K through 5. At this point, it's looking for water or cycle, right? But not water and cycle together. If I simply just put it in quotes, it will look for water and cycle together. That's just one of the most important things as we go through here. And notice now I got 41 results. But again, notice it says pre-K through 5. I want to quickly show you that we now have filters. All right. Depending on what grade range, what grade level you are, your results will come up by default based on that grade range. So notice this is pre-K through 5. If I wanted to search for everything, all the grades, I can just simply click and hold and change my grade range there. All right. And so now went from 41 to 74. Okay. So I can also, maybe I want to look specifically for just videos. I can deselect all by clicking all and then just choose video and click update. Now when I come down, I've got 44. So those are all videos. And notice again my little icon here that represents the video. All right. Now as a teacher, you need to preview everything. So I can hover over this. I can preview this, say, oh, this looks great. And if it looks great and I'm ready to start a playlist, this is all I need to do. I'm going to click and hold and drag over and see where it says new playlist. I'm looking for that line to go from blue to green. And when I let go, I now get a dialog box for me to type in a title. Now that title, it's up to you. You may want to include the SOL. You may want to include the content name. You may, if you start to do sharing may be turned on for your division. You may want to include your last name. But I'm just going to call this, water cycle. Water cycle. Okay. And then I'm going to click OK. Now notice over here, when I click my little arrow, I can see I've put that one learning object in. I could trash it if I don't like it. I can edit actually the title if I decide to change the name of my title. I can trash the whole playlist. But let's say now I viewed this one and this one looks great. I can click and hold and drag it over. I'm going to put it in that playlist I just created. All right. So this is how you're going to build these playlists, and these playlists will then become your assignments. Or, like I said, you could just play it right from here from the main screen on the big screen for your students. So, anyways, that's how you would create your playlist and add more to it. Notice I have something called favorites. Favorites would be, for example, if you found something great, you're not sure exactly where to put it at this time, I can add it to my favorites. And then when I'm ready, I saved this water cycle before. Now I'm ready to put it. I have my water cycle playlist. I can drag and drop it down. And there we go. Notice it did not it created a copy. It did not delete it. So if I'm ready to get rid of it, I can now trash it there. All right. So I have, I'm actually need to point out a couple more things. Notice again, I'm searching for water cycle. If I'm ready to start a brand new search, this reset button is very, very important. So I'm going to click on reset because I want to quickly show you the SOL search before we create our assignment. Okay, so I'm going to close my filters. Over here on the SOLs, if I hover over this, actually if I click on the SOL button, I can search. If I click on Science, I'm going to get all the science tagged learning objects. But let's go a little bit deeper. If I click on my arrow, now I can go down to whatever grade level. And then if I go even deeper, I can now find the SOLs. And if I hover over the question mark, if I just want to make sure it's the right SOL, I can hover over the question mark. That looks great. And now I can click on that SOL. And it's got 2,975 learning objects that have come up related to that specific SOL. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. This is where I can now start adding in those filters. So I can, again, change that grade range. I can change the media type. I can even search for publisher. This is a pretty big thing that they've added recently to the system, where maybe there's a publisher that I've really, really been enjoying, and I can find everything related to that specific publisher. Okay, so that's your SOLs. Same thing. Now, if it looks good, I've previewed it. Oh, hey, check that out. By the way, we have started getting a Magic School Bus into the system, which a lot of you have been waiting for. But again, if I like it, I can pull it over and either start a new playlist or add it to a current playlist. All right. So the next few things, actually, I want to go find a couple very specific videos. Then we're going to pop over to the desk and add some of our own content, create our class, and finish off with that assignment. So because we're in the holiday season, there's a cool series called, you know what? I've got my little cheat sheet over here. It's called All About the Holidays, is actually what we're going to use to create our assignment. So I'm going to search for All About the Holidays, and very specifically, I'm just going to pull up Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas. So let me find Hanukkah first. I'm just going to add that. Okay, and there it is. So you'll notice there's a whole bunch of great ones. We're going to start a new playlist. I'm going to click on hold and drag over. And I'm going to call this Holidays Assignment. We'll do December 2015. Okay, so again, it's up to you how do you want to title that. But now you'll see I've got my first learning object right there. All right, let's check out what's my next one. My next one is Kwanzaa. If any of you are like me, I'm a horrible speller, which is why I have this prepped and ready to go. Okay, so Kwanzaa. All right, so there's Kwanzaa I need. I'm going to click and hold. Now, depending on where you want this, what order, you can drag and drop it directly into that location, the order that you want. All right, the last one is Christmas. Let me just copy that real quick. Okay, so now we've got Christmas. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that over. And these are very short little clips. And the goal for the assignment that I'm creating is I'm just going to actually have them watch the videos and use this as a way to encourage their writing or engage their writing. Get them started thinking about the holidays. Okay, so we've added some stuff from the library. Okay, so this is going to be stuff that anyone can access who has access to the system. But the desk is when you can add your own content, all right? So you notice I already have a few things in here. I have I actually have already created this assignment, but I'm going to show you how we got this going. So notice I can add a learning object. That could be a link, an external link. You may have a great site that you've been using with its own content that you want to add to a learning object. Add to an assignment. You may have created your own content. So anyways, we have a few things we're going to add. So I'm going to click on Add Learning Object. Again, I've got my little cheat sheet here. I have a template that I created for them. So I'm going to copy this because this is going to get me going. I've got to give it a title. Oops. I've got to give it a subject. Again, I can change that grade range. I'm going to currently leave this, but notice you can change this here. Short description and long description. Your short description is what shows up before you hit full details, so it's like that on that first page. But for our purposes today, I'm just going to use the same for long and short. And this is basically telling them, use this as a template, save it, as holidays-your last name, and submit it back to me through the file prompt. file prompt. We didn't talk about that. The file prompt is actually, if any of you have taken an online course, it's like a digital Dropbox. So we're going to show you how to create a file prompt. Now I've got to upload that file. Now I'm actually using a Chromebook, so I'm connected to my Google Drive, and I have everything listed under Visti. Oh, I'm already in the folder, Visti 2015. So I have already saved one right here, holidays dash your last name. So I'm going to click on open and click on add object. Now as I add my own learning object to my desk, notice here it is. All right. And it shows up just like a regular learning object, meaning now I can just drag it over to my assignment or my playlist. Now, notice I put that first. What's going to happen when a student logs in is it's going to download that to their computer. And then they can preview that so they're kind of ready before they start watching the videos. They'll know what they need to do. But something that is not necessarily built into the system is a way to add instructions. So I'm going to actually add a JPEG, which has come from a PowerPoint. So how many of you have created a slide in PowerPoint and turned it into a JPEG? So I did that to be my main instructions, which is right here. So writing assignment instructions, I'm just going to copy and paste this. Again, just choose language arts. This is still going to be, they actually don't have image in here, so we'll just leave that as documents. I'm going to copy the rest of this, and this is my instructions for the holiday assignment. And basically, my instructions will tell them, it could be anything that you want them to know, but mine tells them how to navigate through it, and then just prepping them again how to save it. And that's just something I have decided personally I like to do when creating these assignments. And that is right here. Here's my JPEG from my PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to click on Add Object. And there it is. So I want that to be first because that's going to be the first thing I want them to see when they log in. So notice my green line. There it is. Boom. And what did I just add? I just want you guys to see what I just added. So if I click on the play button, that's what I added. So eMediaVA assignment overview, use the next and previous buttons to navigate, open a new window if needed, use writing prompt template provided, be creative, save as holidays-your-last-name.doc, finished early, help the people around you. So of course you can add in whatever you would like as those instructions. I've got one last learning object before we create our class and our assignments and then see what it looks like for a student. So the last learning object is that file prompt. Okay, so here's my title. Whoops. Here's my title. I'm just going to copy this again because I've got it ready. It's also good to have things copied on a Word document or a Google Doc, just in case your computer freezes. You don't want to lose things. Okay, so here's my description. I'm sorry, this is actually where I could put instructions for them. And again, just for these purposes, I'm just keeping it the same. Notice I've got an upload button. I don't want an upload button. I'm trying to create a file prompt, which is one of our drop-down options. When I create the file prompt, notice that upload button disappears. And when the student sees it, it's going to be actually for them, they'll have an upload button so they can upload something and it'll come back to me. So I'm going to click on Add Object. And I want this to be the very last thing. So I'm going to click on my assignment. I'm going to make sure this is the last one. Sometimes that's a little tricky, so I may have to just drop it and then move it. So it didn't quite go in the last one. But notice I can pull one out and I can pop it back in. Okay, sometimes it's a little tricky. But that's how you can easily move things around. All right, so that's all I want to add. But before we move on, there's just a couple more things, a couple more types of learning objects that you can add. One is a link that I mentioned. Notice as soon as I change this to link, I now have a URL option, so I can add in that full, it does want the full http:// etc. So make sure you type that in. And then that will allow them, your students, or you, even if you're just using it on the main screen, to go to an external link. So if you got something great you'd like them to see. The last one is you can add a quiz from right here, or you can add a quiz from your Add Learning Object area. So with the quiz, all right, I'm just going to do, just so you can see what this looks like. I'm not creating a quiz today for this assignment. So let me just show you what this looks like. I can do multiple choice one answer, multiple choice multiple answers, or short answer. And it's just a matter of dragging and dropping over the type of question you'd like, typing in that information with your answers, and then selecting the correct answer. Okay? The system does grade your multiple choices. It does not grade the short answer. But I'm going to give this to you as homework. Go ahead and try to create a quiz and let me know if you have any problems. But just like with any of these others, I can pull it over and drag it over and add it to my assignment, and we're good to go. All right, so let's keep on going. I've got classes now. To create a class, first of all, if you're single sign-on, your students have to log in before you can create a class. Otherwise, if you had a bulk upload, your students will show up here, and you can very easily search for your students, of course, and select them, drag them over to create a new class and give it a name. Okay? Once you've created it, just like with your playlists, notice here's the one I just created. I can delete them. I can add a few more to this as needed. All right, so that's how you create your class. Now your assignments, again, your assignments are based on those playlists you've been working on. And the order that you've put the playlist in, the order of your learning objects is how the students are going to see it. So if I want to choose Holidays assignment, which is the playlist we just created, give it a due date for your students to have it completed. Notice now I have the option to either choose a single student. So if I have just one student that needs either remediation, or again, I'm trying to differentiate my learning or my instruction, and I want to assign it to just one student or few students, I can still choose them from here. But I have a full demo group that I created the other day. And notice this can be my full class. This has 64 students in it. And when I pull that over, boom, there's all my students. Okay? I can still add more to it if I'd like by clicking on, for example, this person I know is not in it. I can still add to this one here as well. Okay? I'm not sure who that is, so I'm going to actually delete that real quick because that's not one of my demo students. All right? And then once I've done that, I can click close. All right. Once you have given the assignment to the students, once you've assigned it, your playlist then is locked. So if you just realize you have to make an adjustment to it, you need to, before your students have started to work on it, you need to delete it, and then you can work on it again. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So back under library, notice the one I just did is now locked. So I could not add or reorder or do anything to it. I did need to unassign it before I do that. Okay, so there's my assignments. When my students start working on it, I'm actually going to see green checks. When they submit that file prompt back to me, I'm going to see a get button. In fact, let me show you what this will look like for the teacher. Whoops, because I have one. Oh, it's not that one. I know I deleted it, that's why. Okay, so we'll have to, there we go. So notice this shows me that the students did work on something. I've got a get button, which will actually submit back to me what they submitted to me so I can view it and grade it. Okay, and if they did a quiz, if you had added a quiz, you would also get your quiz results here as well. And it would would give you either an X or a check if they answered right, and then that full, if you did the other type of question that would not be graded, you would be able to grade that from here too. So let's log in as a student and see what this looks like, and then you guys take it away and have fun with it. So I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in as my student, which is this one. Okay, here's those little sticky notes we'd mentioned where either you may be sending a a learning object that you want someone to view, or you may just be sending a message to your student or to your other teachers. But here's the assignments. This is the one I just did. Notice they can't just click on it from here. They just have to click the play button. So they click on the play button. Oh, hey, there's that JPEG. Remember, we put in the JPEG so they'd have some basic instructions. And it tells them, look for the next and preview buttons. So they're just going to click next. Oh, hey, look, there's that document we gave them as the template. So they can open that up. And because I'm using a Chromebook, I may have to give them a few extra instructions if we're all working on Chromebooks. But here it is. After watching the videos, write your response to the different holidays or write about your family traditions. Please save as holidays-your last name.doc and submit back to me through the file prompt. So they have that. They can work on, they can now watch the videos. Ooh, hey, here's the first one. So even as a student, they can pause it. They can stop it. They can rewind very easily. So if they need to review any of it, okay. And notice as they're walking through, I'm getting the green check. So even the student can see what they've completed. So if I hit next and go to the next video, watch that, and the next video. And the last thing I want to show you is how to submit that assignment back. So let's say they've now worked on this assignment. Oops. They've typed in that. Oops, they're saving it. Let's see, again, there's some extra steps for if you're using it in the, oops, this is going to be, we told them to save it as holidays with dash their last name. Okay, so I'm going to put it back in Visti. Okay, so we've saved it. We did a little bit of editing. So now the student will be able to click on the upload button, navigate to the file. Normally you would navigate again to whatever your scheme is. And there is the file I was just working on, holidays-gilstrap. I'm going to click on open. Notice it tells me the file name, when it was submitted, and boom. When the teacher logs back in, they're going to have access to that. Okay, so take a peek, have fun. Please contact me if you have any questions. My name is Annie Gilstrap, and my email address is annie.gilstrap@whro.org. In fact, why don't we just pull that up here real quick? Oops. It's Annie. So have fun. Drop me a line. Let me know how it's going. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Here, let's just do this. Okay, so there's my email address. Let me know how it's going. And if you'd like to set up a full hands-on session, we'd be happy to come out and do that for you. So have fun at eMediaVA.org. You guys take care.